Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk. Thank you for joining us on a great morning here in Central Virginia. We're live across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. We're presented by Yes Realty Partners and Yes Team Realtors. Judah Wickhauer is our director, and Keith Smith has got a fabulous roundtable on this fantastic Tuesday. Susan Stimart and Greg Slater in the house, distinguished gentlemen.
I'm excited about this show. This is something that we've all been working on in a while. Everybody in this, to the right of me, Susan and Greg and the whole team at the Land Trust, to kind of get to this point where we can actually try to do some solutions to the affordable housing, I call it crisis, but the affordable housing struggle we're currently in. We wish it was a much bigger announcement, but it's the beginning of it anyway. We're about ready to, actually, I think Greg hit the send button this morning on releasing 3 of the first 15 units. We're going to, the Land Trust is working with Stanley Martin over at Spring Hill. So it's a pretty exciting move forward. I do want to take a moment and give a little bit of a public shout out to both Greg and Susan.
Yes.
For the first and foremost, they've been putting up with me as chairman for a couple of years, so they need a little bit of relief from that. But Greg and Susan have become dear friends. Greg I've known for a couple of decades. Just to have him sitting to the right of me is pretty awesome, and Susan sitting across the way. These folks are the salt of the earth, and these folks are the ones that are making this magic happen. So I wanted to take a moment and just say thank you to both of them for doing all this hard work and getting to this point. It's a heartfelt thank you, guys. Heartfelt thank you.
How do you feel? Greg, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel pretty good. I got involved with all this stuff because I wanted to give my personal experience and expertise to helping people get into homes, right? I live in this housing market for a living, but it's turned into working on the board and working with people like Keith and Susan, and it's just become a whole lot more than I ever bargained for. But that being said, when we have opportunities like this, I get to do the part that I enjoy the most, getting my hands dirty, boots on the ground, twisting the Rubik's Cube to the point that we can make this happen for, in this case, 3 more families here very soon.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
Susan. This is full circle for me. I got to watch the parcel come out of the ground, literally, with Albemarle County, watching them rezone it for what is now called Spring Hill Village.
That's right. You were working with Albemarle County at that time.
Yep, Spring Hill Village. And this is a result of Albemarle County's affordable housing proffer policy. And Greg obviously can talk a lot about that, good and the bad, but here we are today with the results going in the right direction.
So let's do another shout out. I'd like to do another shout out to Dr. Stacy Pepia over at Albemarle County, because we would not be here without her help to help us navigate this rather complicated proffer. And for those who are not in the field or in the sphere of influence, the sphere that we're in, a proffer is a promise, right? The developer makes a promise to do something. So there was a promise to produce these 15 affordable housing units. So, Greg, I think it's time for us to let you do your thing and say, tell us what we're doing here. Tell us what we're getting ready to hit the market, or it's on the market and folks are ready that can buy.
Sure. So this is a pretty big deal for the CLT. We, for years, have tried to break into Albemarle County. Everything we've done to this point has happened in the city of Charlottesville. And with the creation of policy to cause affordable housing in Albemarle County, we knew we were a right fit if we could find the right developer and builder and put our resources together with them to create affordable housing in new communities, new construction, where it was always been attended for over a decade with these policies. So that partner is Stanley Martin in a community called Spring Hill Village. It's 3 miles south of the city limit on Avon Street, on your left, just before you get back to Route 20. The bottom of the hill there. If you haven't been down to that part of the world, when you drive into this community, or if you're familiar with Avinity, which is another community a half a mile up the road, these are elevated and have beautiful views of the mountains of that part of the area and that little part of Charlottesville. So it's a very attractive setting. So they're building townhomes there for the market in the 350 to 450 range, basically. They have 3 and 4 bedroom townhomes. They have villas that have first floor master suites, and and they hit a few price points with a few different floor plans. But what they've created to meet this proffer is a 2-bedroom townhome. It's 3 stories. It has a 1-car garage. It has 2.5 baths. So you come in the home and you enter a flex area that could be a lot of things, a home office or a family room. If you were to walk straight from the front door to the back, you'd go into the garage. The owners of this home will probably park in the garage in the back and then go upstairs to a kitchen in the main level, and one in the middle of the floor plan, and on one in the front of the home there's a family room, and then in the back of the home there is a dining area. And then if you travel up one more flight of stairs, you'll have a owner's suite with a private bath, and you'll have a 2nd bedroom with a 2nd full bath, and you'll also find the laundry hookups on that floor. These homes are brand new. They're nicely equipped. They're going to come with all the amenities that Stanley Martin includes in every home they're building at every price point in that marketplace. They have very low maintenance exteriors. They are, hardy plank exteriors with 30-year roofs. On the inside, in the kitchen, you're going to find granite countertops and a full appliance package with maple cabinets. The flooring is going to be a lot of luxury vinyl tile, very popular, durable, maintenance, long-term product that is very attractive. Near and dear to my heart, these homes are built with energy efficiency in mind. We're talking about a tightly sealed envelope that's highly insulated with energy-efficient HVAC equipment and appliances. Strong thermal barrier to just make the home what I like to call more comfortable and less costly to operate. And I've never met anyone who didn't want that in their housing. So all that being said, these homes are being offered for sale under our program at $243,750. We have put this out there on the MLS today, which means it's been pushed out to Zillow and Realtor.com and Car.com and various websites like that where it's distributed. If you wanted to find it, it's not the final legal address because we don't know it yet, but it's 26 Dauphin, Dauphin Drive is what we're using as an address now till we get it. Actually, lot 26. We'll have a house number further along in the process. The home is within 60 days of being finished, the first one. We have 3. We've just listed 1 at this point. We'll put the other ones out there when appropriate. So we're trying to find people interested in our program and owning a new home down on Avon Street that at this price point, Go ahead, Keith.
So
that's a highlight clip. He should cut that into a highlight clip right there. That's news.
I think that's news.
Yeah, that's news. If you could do that.
I could have kept going.
No, you did well. Judah Wickhauer, if we can cut that into a highlight clip. Neil Williamson's watching. Quentin Beckham's got a comment for you.
Sure.
He says, I love seeing agents from 2 different brokerages and the leader of a nonprofit working together to help create more affordable housing in our community. And Neil Williamson applauds that comment from QB Quentin Beckham.
And that's what this is going to take. And when we had Neil Williamson on the show on Friday and Sean Tubbs, we talked about that. This is not just a one-person entity. We gave a shout-out to the Albemarle County and our affordable housing, the team that we have here. There's no me and us and them here. This is about trying to get this done to get some folks into these affordable homes. I did some quick numbers this morning just for the heck of it to see what was available from $250,000 and below in in Albemarle County, and there's only 5, and there's only ours that has a garage attached to it. So it's desperately needed. Susan, talk a little bit about process, right? So somebody, and I think Greg can chime in on this a little bit, but somebody has a realtor taking a look at this. Mr. and Mrs. Smith want to know what's their next steps. What is their next steps from this point forward?
Yeah, thanks. They're going to go to the Land Trust website, TJCLT.org. They're going to click on the tab that says Steps to Home Ownership. And when that page pulls up, they'll be able to see the income limits. So these homes, by our land trust bylaws, are restricted to people who earn below a certain threshold, 80% of area median income, and then that's broken out by family size. So it differs by the number of folks in your house. So you're going to take a look at those income limits on that website. And then step 2 is filling out a form. There's a hyperlink in there that takes you to a Google form. Everybody's got to fill out that form. That's the requirement. And once
So why is that?
because that gives us a chance to understand where someone is coming from and their interest for looking for a house. And it gives them a place in line, quite frankly. It gives them a place in line because there's going to be a lot more interest in these 3 homes than we're going to be able to serve. And so we want to be as fair as possible, first come, first serve. So that's how that's going to work. And then once you get your survey form into us, the third step will be to take an orientation class. It's not graded. You just have to come to the class or attend via Zoom and learn about how the land trust model works.
So let's stop there for a second. Tell us what that class is about, Greg.
Well, the class covers a lot of things, but for starters, it's the basics of home ownership, and wealth building is part of that, and the responsibilities of home ownership. But for anybody who's going to enter into our program, we want to make sure they fully understand the ins and outs of what it means to own a community land trust home, where you own the improvements and you lease the land underneath it. And that's the majority of the conversation are on those topics and what it means long term for future sale, for inheritance, for the length of time you can own it, and all those things. It's a deep dive into that conversation.
And then the next step is over to PH, right?
That's
Piedmont
right.
Housing.
Piedmont Housing Alliance is our partner, the other nonprofit at the table with us. They are helping potential home buyers, home seekers, with getting their income verified and perhaps even qualifying for some really great programs that will help either write down the interest on their loan or perhaps even give them help with some closing costs if that's needed.
And down payment too, right?
And down payment
Down
assistance.
payment assistance.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
and then BH will also talk about the ins and outs of home ownership responsibility as well.
So it's important because what we're talking about is a sales funnel here, right? So we have you must go through this link. You get into the beginning of the sales funnel. We have our education process. Then it goes into PHs. But when we're done with that, what happens next, Greg?
Well, we have to introduce these folks to the homes and see them and feel and touch them to make sure it's something that's suitable for them. Not, just because it's the right price doesn't mean it's right for everybody. But we're going to, with the help of Fulton Mortgage, who's created a CLT loan to help us with these buyers,
Nice.
we're going to pre-qualify them under Fulton's guidelines and couple that with the help of PHA and determine if on their own they have the funds they need and the credit score they need and the debt-to-income ratio they need to qualify to buy one of these houses. If they don't, then we're going to try to pool our resources from these 3 organizations to help that happen.
So they're not just left hung there.
That's right. And I'll give you some examples because we did this at Nassau Street. So in our price, we've included some funds to help with the closing costs. So to achieve the loan through Fulton Mortgage, it's a 97% loan-to-value product. What that means is there's a 3% down payment. But of course, when you get a mortgage, there's closing costs as well that are generally about 3%. So we fully expect to meet some people who've saved and are ready for this opportunity and will be able to take advantage of it. For those who are maybe not quite that ready, we will look to find some down payment assistance. We will look to find closing cost assistance. Fulton Mortgage is generously committing money in their process as well to help with those closing costs. So all things being said, if you just put down 3% and you get one of these loans and we have the closing costs covered, you're talking about getting into a home for about $1,430 a month,
Right.
And becoming a homeowner for as long as you want to stay there. It's a 90-year leasehold interest in the property, so that's usually longer than most people get to enjoy a home.
So just to play off of QB's statement, I was just doing
Sure.
a quick count here. We've got 2 real estate companies.
Uh-huh.
We've got 2 nonprofits.
Yeah.
And we've got 1 lender working together trying to help.
We've got a builder and a developer.
We got a builder and a developer. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. The most important part.
Maybe arguably giving the most in this process.
They
It shouldn't be unrecognized that Stanley Martin is delivering homes below what it costs to produce them to achieve the requirements of this proffer.
They're leaving a substantial amount of money on the table.
Big time. You got comments coming in. This is from Mustache Dan Pettit from Real Estate 3. Love Mustache Dan Pettit here on the program.
Yeah.
You've kind of answered this already, Susan. He says, what do you consider affordable and affordable housing market? And how many homes do we need in our area now, Charlottesville and Albemarle County, to start meeting the demand? And then he also says, have you had conversations with impact organizations on affordable housing? Mustache Dan Pettit.
So I'm going to jump in a little bit on that, Susan.
Okay, sure,
So,
sure.
so a great way to talk about that is the new housing plan, or the thing that the commission has put, the Planning District Commission has put out, where they talked about, and I would direct Dan over to that site, and we can get that and drop it in there. But they talk about how many units are needed. I just don't know. We just can't recite the number off the top of our head. It's a lot more than we currently have that we can provide at this point. But the affordability question is something we're trying to determine, right? Affordable housing, and I think we have 4 people in this room, 6 people in this room plus Liza, and
Yeah.
I think we'd end up with 7 different opinions. 7 different opinions.
I love when you highlight Liza.
I love Liza.
Yeah, Liza's great.
I think Liza loves me.
She does. Of all the people that come into the studio,
Is it me?
you spoil her the most with the treats. That's why.
Well, I know-
Liza's the rescue dog, for those that don't know.
I've noticed that her treats are getting a little low, so I got to go over see Patty Zeller and get some more.
Taylor Beck giving you props. Amanda Lamone is watching from
Yeah.
what? Stanley
Stanley
Yes,
Martin.
yes.
She's watching the
We
show
couldn't
now.
do this without her.
Yeah. Justine Montgomery, hello. Welcome to the broadcast. More questions coming in. I know you have.
Well,
you want to answer that one?
And I was just going to add also that the thing about the land trust model that's really nice in working with Albemarle County is that, going back also what Keith said, there's not a one-size-fits-all housing solution. This particular community is going to have about 15 land trust homes. It's going to be embedded in the Spring Hill Village, which has got a dog park, a tot lot, pavilion and fire pit, little community amenities. But that may not be for everybody. There may be folks who want to be geographically located elsewhere. So it's going to take a lot of different players, as we're talking about, to achieve affordability.
Well, there's no, as we talk all the time, there's no silver
Bullet.
but there is
Silver buckshot,
Buckshot.
yes. That's ingrained in my head. You brainwashed me over 2 years. Of
Sorry,
doing-
buddy.
So I like to take that question as, affordability means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, just
Yeah.
deciding what you want to achieve. I can say what we're doing is trying to make opportunities that are more affordable. In this case, there's a very direct line to comparable properties for what we're offering here. There is another builder in the market who builds this exact same floor plan in Old Trail. A comparable community, maybe not the part of town you want to live on, but it starts around $320,000.
Quentin says this, which is a good metric. How about compare the mortgage payment to rent for a similar size location in the area?
So let's do that, because I've
Go,
got that.
Quentin.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
I've got
Good metric.
That's a great metric. So I've got this number here. So we want to twist that a little bit and use what the HUD rent limits are, right? So just to put it into perspective, a 2-bedroom, this is 2020 numbers, 2021 I haven't had a chance to do yet. 70% AMI is $1,480 is the rent limits. So correct me if I'm wrong, Gregory, but we're
You
doing
said 1432.
1432.
1432 with just 3% down. We'll end up with folks, I would imagine, that are able to put more than 3% down and may even get down payment assistance that drives that payment even lower.
That's exactly right.
We achieved $1,100 to $1,200 for a couple of homeowners at Nassau Street.
That's big time. So worst case scenario, you're talking a $50 monthly savings here. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, and so one of the things we'll teach in that class, and maybe it's appropriate to segue to that now, is how we use home ownership the right way to build wealth. I mean, there's various tracks there. The first thing we have to help people understand about our model is that there is an appreciation sharing arrangement. Because you're getting this opportunity, when you sell the home, there is a limit to the amount of the appreciation that you will receive out of the sale of that home. I would argue, for the people who are interested in this, they get it, and they weren't buying a home because they were looking for appreciation or a quick flip or anything like that. They're looking for a home because up until this point, they haven't been able to achieve home ownership, and the very fact that it's cost more to rent than to own. If you can't take that step, we get caught in what I call the rental rut.
Well, I want to add one component to that. Mr. Beckham can probably look this up. I do not do much rental, but I don't know if there's such an animal for rent as a 1,482 bedroom unit in in Albemarle County.
The rental market is constricted and difficult too now.
Yeah.
There's no question.
I
But the point I was trying to make is, if you're stretching your budget to pay your rent, you're never going to save enough to have that 3% down and make the step to home ownership.
It's
That's
real
right.
simple.
I know a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a den in the Villas at Southern Ridge, which is 5th Street extended, basically the same spot, is $1,550 a month for rent, and that's 3 bedrooms. So that right there it would be much higher than that, or you couldn't find it.
And you're talking about an apartment that was converted to a condo. I mean,
Right.
this is a single family home.
Step up, couple steps up, 3 steps up.
Well,
yeah,
and you're paying somebody else's mortgage payment.
right.
But I'll give you different terms. That 3-bedroom condo in Villas at Southern Ridge now is probably worth $180,000. We're talking about something that's worth
Exactly.
$320,000.
Well done.
We can help someone buy for $240,000.
There you go.
But in the class, what I like to help people understand is the sheer basic math of paying down a mortgage for starters. And I ran a couple of numbers. If you were to borrow the $236,000 you need to borrow to buy one of these homes, in 5 years, you'll have paid off $25,000 of that mortgage. That's 100% your equity. If you stay there 10 years, you'll have paid off $54,000 of that mortgage. That's 100% their equity when they go to sell it. Second income stream. If you're getting something for $1,400 a month that otherwise would have cost you $1,600 a month to rent, that's another $4,800 a year in savings times 5 years or 10 years. If one of our candidates is fortunate enough and we're able to find some down payment assistance money for them, like we did at Nassau Street, there are down payment assistance programs that forgive that
That's right.
assistance over time. There are some that it's a second or a third against your mortgage and the interest is accruing and it has to be paid back when you sell. But there are some that simply go away over time and it's prorated over 5 or 10 years. So if you get down payment assistance and you pay off the entire, or you live there the entire term you need to pay it off, that's just money that is become yours as well. And last but not least, we know that there's upward pressure on real estate values over time historically for the majority of what goes on in the real estate market. So if you own this home 10 years and assume a 2 or 3% appreciation rate,
Which is low.
which is low. We want to assume very conservative
Yeah.
numbers when we do this math because we just don't really know what's going to happen. But let's assume this home appreciates by $100,000 in 10 years. Well, $25,000 of that under our program would also be part of your wealth building experience of owning the home.
But I'm going to pivot a little bit because when we did Nassau Street, I did the site work, the construction. Greg handled the sales of it, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about the buyers, because in essence they're the same buyers that are going to hopefully be buying these particular homes. And it knocked me on my heels when I first met them, that nobody was talking about this appreciation. Nobody was talking about this. Everybody was crying and hugging and talking about, I gave up, right? I gave up. I've gave up on the American dream. One of them was a refugee family that gave up on the refugee. But the thing that gets chills as I'm talking about it right now is they wanted the opportunity to give this opportunity to somebody else. That was singularly focused. Every of the four buyers that I had a conversation with, we're looking forward to either a family member or somebody else to give them this opportunity of ownership. And can you just talk a little bit about that? I'm getting really chills talking about it.
Look, over the last
Could be
10
the
years,
liquor,
I've talked to hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of people, particularly some that are very knowledgeable in the affordable housing space or realtors, and they always immediately get hung up on the appreciation sharing side of this. So the first myth we have
But not these people.
No, but let me dispel the myth for the people listening who might be hung up on it themselves. So if you go to sell the home, we take 25% of the calculated appreciation on that home from the time you bought it and add it to the price. The other 75% doesn't go to anyone.
Because we have to sell it to an 80% AMI or...
That's right.
Future family,
The easiest thing to know about our model is because of the leasehold interest and the appreciation sharing program, we are creating a permanently affordable inventory of housing that gets more affordable over the time. It's only appreciating at 25% of the market rate. We started low and we're only appreciating at 25% of the market rate. It's an elegant solution, there's no question.
But we're going to have some rock stars on Friday. We're going to have Sunshine Mathon on and Dan Rosenzweig, and they are other pellets, right?
Sure.
Our pellet, ours a couple of few silver pellets. The thing that makes us a little bit different than most is the permanent affordability on it, and that it will be permanently affordable. Henceforth, the excitement of the families that they can give this to somebody else.
Their family members can inherit, actually.
Well, or to somebody else, to another family, to another
I met
buyer.
one of those family members. We were at Three Notch Brewery on Saturday, my family, and Paula Christie came up with her daughter and said, I just wanted you to meet my daughter. And then her
Sahara.
daughter, she launched a business.
She did. It's
And-
wonderful.
Yeah, and she said, I'll throw it to you. And she said, I just want you to know my daughter is a product of the land trust and what everyone did. She launched a business. We could not be happier. And the land trust really played a huge part in that happiness. And I'm sitting there just drinking in a Minute Man with my wife and my kid. And Paula Christie comes up and says that to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the chills that you were talking about. And she straight up said it was because the land trust that we're able to have this happiness. My daughter was able to launch a business. It was amazing.
So there's
yeah.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work sitting in this room, hundreds
Yeah.
and hundreds, and that's what it's all about.
Got a new arrow in the quiver for our orientation class. One of our homeowners, Shaka Smart, who's been on your show, he's volunteered to come sit beside me in this class. So after they're done hearing about it, what it means to the guy who's a realtor and homeownership and all the basics, they get to hear from someone who
Been through the process.
lived it. Yeah, lived the process, and he
Yeah.
can answer their questions. Because, look, it takes some time to get people comfortable with our model. I mean, home ownership for the first time, there's a reason we call people first-time home buyers. It's daunting if you're not familiar with these things. So we're
And
trying.
that's the beauty about these Spring Hill units. They're walking into units that are brand new. So that's a whole thing.
The one-year warranty.
Yep, 1 year warranty.
And super close to everything. Like we should emphasize the fact that they're close to employment. I mean, it's like affordable, but it's close to where people are working.
Jerry, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because one of the calls I got last night, because we let the folks know who had already expressed interest in the land trust model, we let them know a little bit ahead of the MLS posting. Got a call last night from someone who is a bus driver. I work at CAT. And I said, really? Wow, this is so close to where you'd work.
Right.
Fantastic. So anyway, that was great to hear.
So on top of location, I took a couple of, was on the site, Greg and I went on the site on Sunday. I took a couple of, photos from my iPhone, and Judah will buzz through them. But the master bedroom view of Carter's Mountain is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
awesome.
So comments coming in for you guys. So why don't we emphasize again for those who are just tuning in, and Greg, I'll throw it to you, the location, and also maybe kind of the cliff notes of the affordable housing that's being offered. Fudd Guy is watching. He says, how has the city of Charlottesville and the county of Albemarle responded to this project? Have they been supportive? Does Charlottesville or Albemarle local government seem willing to participate in this project, which is easier to work with?
So
well.
I'll take that first. I can say that Albemarle County's been very progressive with this. The Stanley Martin, myself, Land Trust, and Albemarle County all got together and figured out how we can make this proffer work, right, to what we're trying to sell. So they were in the room, and they were very progressive in helping us through this process. So I can answer that portion of the question.
And on top of that, it's
handled that well.
it's a new step for them, because back in the day, Greg, the proffer would be there and it wouldn't get moved into an affordable unit.
So there's two things I'll say to that, and then we'll go back over the highlights of what we're offering and tell people where they can find more information. But that's exactly right. For years, the proffer has been written in a way that was a 30 or 60 or 90-day loophole.
90 days.
Well, so you market the home. If you don't, you can't make the math work. And the math doesn't work without a model like ours, to be quite honestly, because we removed the land from the equation. But, these homes just weren't getting built, and they were just processed. There's been many proffered units in Albemarle County that were never built and just became fair market value opportunities. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this. But the thing about this model that I learned I actually sold the first proffered affordable housing ever built in Albemarle County in 2007, literally across the street at Avon Park. And we had to go out and find 6 home buyers for this opportunity. It wasn't a land trust model. It was just the developer and the builder at a time. We just pushed the thing down to the price it needed to be at, and we sold it. But there were no limitations to what could happen to the property next.
Right.
And
So this is an important shout out to Stanley Martin, and so everybody understands the current proffer policy in Albemarle County, and it's set to change. But currently, the current proffer policy on this, all Stanley Martin needed to do was to market these 15 units for 90 days. If they receive no buyers, then they can sell it at market rate. They have made the decision through a partnership with us and with Albemarle County not to do that, right? So they're taking a huge step forward to do, in my opinion, and they're stepped up to the plate. Not that other builders aren't, not that other developers aren't, but they've
gone beyond.
They've gone beyond,
Yeah.
and because I just want it to be clear, they could just let the clock tick for 90 days and say, oh well, and sell it to somebody else. But they really want to be in the game to help fix the game, and that's super important to get out there.
How many of the units, multiple people asking this, I'm asking this, how many of the units go past the 90-day marker and then go onto the
Wow.
market?
Greg, do you know that?
I don't
Not
think
many.
any ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any ever.
Yeah.
It takes a commitment from a lot of people, like we've talked about, to make these things happen. The policy's not written in a way that it's just going to happen, and that's because the land in Albemarle County is so expensive.
Sure.
You
No,
can't,
I think what you're asking is how many hit 90 days and went market
Full market
rate,
value. That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I don't
Yeah.
think we can answer.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
So
almost
a
all
lot?
of them. Almost
Well,
all
what's-
of them.
Because
Unless-
you're saying no one can close in a 90-day period from any standpoint, let alone an affordable housing.
No, they
AMI.
just couldn't get the buyers.
They didn't have the will to do it, or they didn't get the buyers. But no, and sometimes it's just because it was impossible. So if you have a $70,000 or $80,000 lot where you're otherwise building a $275,000 to $325,000 home, there is nothing you can put on that lot to get it down to the price it needs to be to meet the affordable pricing levels based on the income and even break even.
Yeah.
So it just became something that it was unpalatable without all of the resources coming together to force it to happen.
They didn't have what we've created here.
Right.
Standalone, they just couldn't do it on their own.
Uh-huh.
You needed a tool such as the land trust, right? You needed a tool such as, we raised capital through the telethon, through everything that we've been doing here,
Sure.
so that we can participate into this as the land trust. And we have willing partners, and we have willing partners at the county. And it just, all those pieces have to be in place in order to make that happen. I think standalone, one entity unto itself could not do that. So that's really where the secret sauce is in this.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
not
excitement.
it's not just one entity, and it's I tout the Regional Housing Partnership all the time on the show. But that's what we're about over there, and this is an example of how that works, bringing these different pillars to the table to generate affordable housing. Would we have liked to bring more money than we can at this point and drive that 243 down? Hell yeah. If somebody writes us $1 million check, a couple $1 million check, we'd be doing it all day long. But we're working with the capital we have at the moment, and that's kind of where we're standing.
Amanda Lamone says, thank you all for doing such important work and helping home ownership dreams become a reality and become true. Neil Williamson writes, the current affordable housing policy is broken,
Yeah.
but the new proffer policy is not fixing the problem. The land trust model could be a part of the solution rather than simply increasing the, quote, impossible mandate. It's from Neil Williamson.
Look, I think of it as and unfortunately, I've been walking around for 8 or 9 years knowing this was the key that unlocked the door to private affordable housing work. Unfortunately, I couldn't get there without people like Keith Smith and Susan Stimart and Stacy Pethia and all these people that are able to bring organizations together and solve the problem. But I've known for a long time this would do that because that's what we did the first time. We tried to prove in 2007 to the county why their system wasn't going to work as it was written. But we talk about that component about how the land trust solved this model. But the other problem it solves that I've learned in my, there are people that qualify for these opportunities that aren't the best suited to participate in them. And that's what our model kind of filters out, right?
But it offers help, though.
It offers help.
Right, because you can get help from PH, right? You can Because some people just may not be able to meet the credit scores, or they have some other issues in it.
But I'm speaking to how I've seen the effort that we've put here cause proffered affordable housing. Willow Glen in Hollymead Town Center is the other place Albemarle County affordable housing has happened. And those people got to buy those homes, and after they were sold affordable once, everything that went into creating them was gone as soon as they sold them. Some of those people owned those homes 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. All the equity that was built into the process artificially went in their pocket, and the homes adjusted to fair market rate.
So I use the term one deep. We're not one deep. Our program is not a one deep program. It's forever deep, right? It's going to forever provide affordable housing down the road on that end of it.
It's stewardship of public dollars, if you want to think of it that way.
But I mean, this whole conversation you had at the brewery, right? I mean, that's an awesome thing, right? This woman, this family.
It humanized it, seeing her daughter even more.
Well, it humanized it, but it did like what you did, right? How you started this network, right? You've told that story 100 times. And I'm assuming the ownership capabilities helped her daughter start a business, is what my assumption is.
Yeah, it creates stability for her, is what she said. This is an interesting question. Fud Guy asks good questions. If this project becomes...
Because he's a fun guy.
Fud Guy, F-U-U-D
Fud.
guy.
Okay, got it.
If this project becomes a success, and I'm sure it will be, what does the next 5 or 10 years look like for additional land trust affordable housing? Is this scalable, say maybe 200 units or more? And then again, we're getting the question of where can you scale this more, Albemarle or the city of Charlottesville?
So, you mind if I tackle that?
Go for it.
Go for it.
It is scalable because the way that we've structured this is it's actually kind of a pass-through, right? So we as an organization are not doing the development and the building like we did on Nassau Street, right? That was not it was a great project. I loved it. It's exciting, but it's not necessarily scalable. But we've kind of built this in the conversations we've had with Stanley Martin and in the county and so forth and so on, that this is scalable. So if another subdivision comes down the line and there's 50 affordable housing units, this is very doable. This is very scalable. It's been designed for that very purpose, is to scale it up. But this is what you tout so often. This is the
pop.
The pop,
Yeah.
right? We need to prove that this performs.
Right.
And once it performs, then it becomes scalable, and
Sure.
then we can move this throughout.
How about this question? Does Stanley Martin get incentivized in any way by holding the units affordable past the 90-day threshold?
No.
No.
No, they don't. They're doing this. They're doing the right thing here,
Yep.
big time.
Yeah.
So we need to circle back and talk about, for the people that came on late, was that what somebody asked? What are we talking
please.
about?
Yeah, the location.
Thank you for
and
keeping
you can
it.
put the slides up, Judah.
I'm not in sales or anything.
You're not in sales. That's right. You're not.
So
I'll buy that house. Oh, I'm sorry. I am in real estate.
what we're talking about is an opportunity in a new community in the Charlottesville urban ring called Spring Hill Village.
Oh.
So if you were to travel south on Avon Street from Charlottesville, it's roughly 3 miles from the city limit. You go out past Mill Creek, Lake Renovia, the turn off to Monticello High School. You continue a little further. There's a community called Avinity on the left, and then there's an older community called Avon Park on the right. It's across the street from Avon Park. And this is literally your last stop before you would run into Route 20 and then turn right to go Scottsville or left to go back towards the interstate. And the property extends from Avon Street basically almost all the way to Route 20. So if you were to come down Route 20, you have it's like the opposite of a bird's eye view. You're looking uphill, but you can see the scope of the project.
It's a great spot.
From that. It's a great spot with great views. And so Stanley Martin has created a 2-bedroom townhome for us. 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1-car garage, 3 levels, energy efficient, low maintenance exterior, planned urban development with the opportunity to have the dog park and the open spaces and things like that.
The tot lot.
The average new home sales price outside of our model there is going to fall on either side of $400,000.
I've got a couple deals going.
They have larger 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom townhomes, and they also have villas, which are attached homes with first-floor masters. So if you're interested in finding more information, I'll give you the address again. It's 26 Dolphin Drive It's not a real address. You can't Google it. That's the lot number. We don't have a real address yet because the home's not finished. But Dauphin is spelled Dauphin, not like the porpoise. But if you go on Zillow or mycar.com and put in 26 Dauphin Drive, you should be able to find it. If you can't find it there, you can find it at nestrealty.com/26 Dauphin. And there, we've actually attached all the materials that go along with the orientation and the next steps and the floor plans. And just about everything you would want to know about this is sitting there.
Mr. Vice Chair, I hate to disagree with you, but we actually do have an address.
What do you have?
It's 4178.
Yeah, so it's still not going to GPS.
It's not going to GPS on it.
Yeah.
Got it.
That was a good sizzle reel. That one was tight and succinct, Greg. That was good. That was 60
Right.
seconds and under. I like that one right there.
He's a
That was
sales
tight.
guy. He's a sales guy.
This is a good question. Can a collaboration with Habitat for Humanity bring the total cost down, or some kind of volunteer workday or working with K-Tech students help with costs while educating the youth?
I would say in this circumstance, what Keith has been explaining is that this is a partnership with the developer. So we don't need sweat equity in the way that the Habitat operations work. And that speaks to tools in the toolkit. You know, some individuals may be prepared to give sweat equity, or they might be at a price point or an income level to where they need a Habitat house that's going to help serve those who are earning 30 to 60% of area median income. The land trust is focused on those folks who are working at salaries that are bringing in 60 to 80% of area median income. I talked about bus drivers. A mechanic called me last night. A single mom also called me. These are folks who are working at salaries at 80 to 60%. And so it's a different space than where Habitat works. And of course, with the partnership with Stanley Martin, the houses are built. We don't need the sweat equity.
So the rest of this week, we're focusing on solutions on these roundtables. This is one. So whoever that is, I would suggest they tune in on Friday, because we will have Habitat at one of these roundtables, and we'll talk about the product that they serve and the need that they serve. It's a little bit different,
Yep.
but that doesn't mean we can never partner. In this particular case, in this particular silver buckshot, it's very laser focused on how it needs to go with the partnership with the developer and builder. There could be another silver bullet where there's a partnership between Land Trust and Habitat.
Absolutely.
But at the moment, this is a very laser focused solution.
On Twitter, are all your projects focused in the urban ring to help people from a transportation standpoint, or are they outside the urban ring as well?
So that's a great question. I think Greg said, I'll let Greg kind of finish it out. But this is our first project in 10 years. 10 years has it been? 10 years, the Land Trust?
In Albemarle
No,
County.
the land trust. It's our first project in Albemarle County.
In Albemarle
County.
County.
Yeah.
So we're. I think the question is are we going to try to get out in the rural jurisdictions, and we're trying to grow this in a very methodical way, but ultimately we're regional. So yes, we could do something in Fluvanna or something in Nelson or Greene.
The process of working with Albemarle to get to this point. You highlighted some of the players already.
I got to tell you, that was the task I took on in this project. I had no issues with that at all. They were very straight up. Everybody from Ned Galloway all the way down to the county administrator this is what we want to do. It was outside of their box, and they figured out a way to get it inside of their box and make it happen. So I've got nothing but kind words to say about the process.
You're getting love from Kathy Doane, Doane, Rosemary Miller, Tani Marcel Powell. I'm sorry if I'm messing your names up. 2 people put on the feed. Do you have to take the class to be able to buy the home?
Yes, absolutely. That's 100% yes.
So-
and I'm going to back up with what Keith said. Other Albemarle County planning staff were also really amazing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Rebecca Ragsdale, Francis McCall, Dr. Stacy Pethia. It was a great team to work with.
The list is long, but they participated very much so. We couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, so I think the other thing to reiterate based on that class question is to get over to TJCLT.org, click on Steps to Ownership, register if you're interested. That puts you in line so we know who you are and that you're interested, and we'll reach out to you. On May 1st, we're actually going to have our first orientation class. It is only about an hour, and we'll do it. We found a space big enough where we'll be able to offer it in person for
Let's
the people
give a
that want
shout
to
out
come.
to the space.
Yeah.
Charlottesville Area Association Realtors Hillsdale Conference Center.
you
Hopefully
go.
Beth Hyder is listening.
Beth Hyder's watching.
And so we'll have it there, but because that space is so wonderfully technologically advanced, we'll be able to offer this class virtually. So whether you're interested in this opportunity now or just our model in a way that you think it might help you in the future, you can listen in from home and just hear the nuts and bolts of what we're talking about with real life people who want to become homeowners.
So shout out to Carr, shout out to Beth. She's
Beth's one of the top fans of Real Talk.
well,
She brings goodie bags
brings
to
goodie
us.
bags and
Yeah.
chocolate and stuff.
Yeah, we love Beth
You
on
guys
the
are
show.
spoiled. You're spoiled.
And it's been a while, but I think Beth, we need
It
more
was
goodies.
last month. Thank you, Beth.
I'm a chocolate hound, so
It
it's
was
been
last month.
more than 24 hours. Reached out, said, Beth, we need some help. They're there. And the technology over at that facility is off the charts, and we'll be able to do it live. I believe it's up to 30 tables set up in the facility, so we can have 30 people, and then we're going to do a webinar, webinar version of Zoom, so people can participate in it.
Camilla Price giving us props. Sue McWilliams on LinkedIn. Questions for Greg on LinkedIn. These are more market-based questions. Can we open that door?
Yeah, sure.
Are you ready for that?
I'll do my best.
Okay. This one's tied to new construction for Greg Slater on LinkedIn.
Sure.
Where's all the new construction, Greg Slater?
Where's all the new construction?
Yeah.
Well, as we look down the road, people are concerned a little bit about the inventory supply, right? It depends on what type of lot you want. If you're interested in a half-acre lot in Albemarle County, it could be a very long time before there's another opportunity to do something like that. The growth areas we have in the marketplace are still being examined and people looking for opportunities to develop. Crozet is a primary target. The Keswick area around Glenmore, there's a property there that may or may not ever get developed. But right now we have the biggest, newest project is North Point on 29 North up near the Research Park. There's a lot going on there. And of course you have Brook Mill, which is actually another Stanley Martin,
Brook Hill,
Brook Hill.
right,
is
right
another
off of,
Stanley Martin
Polo Grounds
project.
Road, yeah.
Where they're actively selling and starting construction there now. But when we talk about inventory problems, with the resale side, at some point we always having a conversation about where are the next land opportunities. We still have Lachlan Hill and Belvedere. They still have new construction going on. We have townhome opportunities like Spring Hill Village beyond what we're doing there. There's lots of opportunity still there as well.
To go back to the question about where can the land trust help in some of the outer counties, I'm involved in a couple of projects that'll be bringing on somewhere probably between, about 500 or 600 units outside of the surrounding counties in that area. So, but they're many years out. They're in rezoning process, site plan processes, and stuff like that. So the good news is there's stuff in the pipeline. It's just not enough of it, right? That's the simple.
And of course, I
simple
think
answer.
we're going to see, and you talk about on the show all the time, we're getting further and further out for these opportunities. Builders I never thought would be building in the valley are building in the valley.
Oh yeah. What does Quentin Beckham said? The other?
Fly to you qualify.
Fly to you qualify.
Yeah, it's no
right?
longer drive.
It's fly
It's
because
fly.
because the Harrison, based on a National Association Realtors survey, Harrisonburg is the number 9 location in the United States for first-time home buyers. And then we talk about this on the show a couple times. 2020, Charlottesville is number 2 as far as retirees, and the Waynesboro, Augusta County is the number 3 in it. So you're starting now to fly to you qualify. But I had an MRI done a couple of weeks ago, and the technician drove from Harrisonburg to Charlottesville to work.
Robert Stockhausen, what's up, Stock?
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, Rob.
Robert Northington, hello.
Robert's a rock star, man.
He
This
is.
is-
He is.
which
Big
one?
fan of the land trust.
Stockhausen.
Rod
Stock,
Stockhausen.
yeah, Stock's the man, playing pickleball with Stock. He's
Oh,
the
do you
man.
really?
Yeah, he's
So
a
I
very
got-
competitive
about
guy.
to
I
say.
bet.
He
I bet.
loves to.
I was about to say who wins. already.
He does not win. Stock, you heard me say that to you right there. He does not win. So
I think he's going to up his game now.
multiple folks, Christopher Eagle, hello. Multiple
Christopher.
folks are asking about the partnership with Stanley Martin. Here's a good question. Why don't you hit this one? Is it going to take a deep-pocketed builder and developer like Stanley Martin to do something like this? I can't imagine a local guy would be able to do it.
Well, it helps. Now, we did just finish 4 homes on Nassau Street with a local guy that builds 12 homes a year.
Yeah.
But the difference...
Christopher Bramante?
Yeah.
Christopher Bremen.
Yeah.
Bramante Homes.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
He was willing to be our contractor to build those homes at a greatly reduced price as his ability to give back to the community. What we really need here is resources. Fundraising.
Capital.
When we can buy the land, anything's possible.
That's right.
Because we've removed the land from the equation, and it brings everything back into a feasibility range that, maybe the builders don't have to give as much, the developers don't have to give as much. You think about a new community that has a retail value lot of $90,000. Well, if the developer can sell that lot to us at his cost, and we have the resources to buy it, and then the builder's willing to build that home at his cost, or maybe for an overhead margin, because they're already invested in the site anyway and actively building. The reason the builders are going to love this model when we see what we do at Spring Hill Villages, because they get to check the affordable housing box, which I know they want to check, but they get to do it with control of it.
There you go.
So if we were to show up, if the Bert and Ernie show were to show up to try to build a home at Spring Hill alongside of Stanley Martin, that would not go well. But they get to and it's great for us.
He's Ernie, by the way.
I got that.
He's Ernie.
We did. It was that proof of concept at Nassau Street took a lot of time, energy, and effort, and more volunteer hours that I think would be sustainable to scale the model.
I personally got 2,600 hours. It just was tremendous amount of hours in it.
Stanley Martin is building these homes and handing us the keys, and we're going to use our program to connect the homeowner to that home.
Yeah, so we do what we do well for a living. We're making the relationships happen and making the connections happen, and then just literally just moving it from one side of the table to the other side of the table. And it's stuff that we can laser focus on to help. NASA was a great project. I loved it. It was exciting, but it's not a scalable project like this is scalable. We built this program to be just that, scalable.
If we take the land out of the equation, anything's possible.
Sure.
We need the resources
There's another sizzle
to
reel.
buy the land.
I mean, he's right. He's
right.
totally right. Kyle Stolker says, is this a proffer system that's much more tangible and real than just having developers put money in an account and you don't know where that money goes?
Absolutely.
So you're delivering. You're actually delivering product.
Making it more tangible.
When you put people in a house, that's pretty tangible.
Right, it's pretty tangible.
That's pretty tangible.
As opposed to you said absolutely here.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's the family. That's Ms. Christie and her daughter getting to live in our community.
That's the chills you got.
Yeah.
We know, I can personally speak to several Albemarle County projects where the funds are just still sitting.
Right, in the account.
Yeah.
Well, they can give it
they
to
haven't
us
been
and
built.
we can buy lots. Right, Greg? All we need is the land, right?
Yeah,
We
you
need
can
capital.
discount the land or you can just give it to us.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, how about this comment here? Why not just go over, you guys keep talking about Shenandoah Valley, why not just go to the Valley and do this 1,000 times over?
Yeah, so it's part of scalable is
Keeping
that
it close?
Well, you've got to grow it. You're a business. Don't grow too fast. That's worse. But yeah, it's a possibility. It's always everything's on the table.
Well, years ago, Jerry, we got all committed as realtors at CAR before the last recession to see how we could make an impact on this affordable housing. The first thing we did is we decided to stop calling it affordable housing and started to call it workforce housing. I think it's an important step in the generation in how you think about these things. But what we realized the problem was so large and so complex that we were just going to get together, pool our resources, and go try to help one person. And then after we help that one person, we're going to go help a second person, because there's really no way to look at the problem and just start throwing simple solutions at it. So, it's one homeowner at a time, and that's what we're doing at the CLT with the hopes to be able to scale it and start having those bigger impacts, because the groundwork is laid and our model it will navigate it very well.
Yeah, it is very much so scalable. And to quote Ernie, all we need is the land.
Well, but in response to that question, though, over in the Valley, look, I'm not sure the Valley has the same affordability problems we have over here around the city in Albemarle County. And so we are actively focused right now trying to help more people that live and work in Charlottesville stay closer to live and work in Charlottesville, because what we didn't put in that financial gain math we talked about for owning one of our homes 3 miles from downtown is It's the cost of living you save by living closer to where you work.
So to add to that, last Friday we ran the numbers on what was available between Charlottesville, Augusta, and Waynesboro under 250.
Yeah.
There were 70 units homes available. 3/4 of them were on the other side of the mountain.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, is this a dumb statement here that doing this in the city of Charlottesville, where there's very little land for a 300-unit project, is probably going to be impossible?
Well,
no, I disagree.
You can do it in the city?
Well, there's a potential coming up at the end of the month from UVA that might help that situation.
That's right. Yep.
Jerry.
They've got a goal of 1,500 units.
They have-
Paola didn't move into a new home.
Right.
You know how we helped Paola? We got a federal grant, and I actually volunteered. I became her realtor. We went shopping until we found a house suitable for her that fit in the economics of what we were doing.
Sure.
And we showed up with her at closing, and we bought the land, and that house is now a part of our inventory. So we don't just create homes through new construction.
Yeah.
And into the habitat, we actually have 4 or 5
That's
homes.
right.
We have habitat homes now. Think about the habitat model. When you talking about median area income, habitat, I think, will say they help people in the 50 to 60% median area income range. If you remove the land from their equation, you're helping people to make 40% of the median area income. So they actually have, when we were in our early stages of the CLT, when we were a lot less capable, we actually partnered with them. We received grants, we bought lots, and then Habitat executed their program on our land. So we have leasehold interest CLT Habitat homes in this market.
Thank you for reminding me. I forgot
That's
about
right.
that.
That's right. Yep.
Very nice.
Anything else from the feed?
No, I mean, a lot of congratulations, a lot of props and kudos from you guys, or for you guys, from some of the viewers. We handled the questions. Those that have more questions, I think we would direct to the website.
Yeah.
We could also direct them to links that Judah, I think you can put on screen for us. The listing is active.
It is active, yeah.
Spring Hill land registration link is that on the Land Trust website?
So they're going to need to go to the Land Trust website under Steps to Homeownership,
Got
and
it.
step number 2 to fill out that form.
So that's tjclt.org/steps-2-homeownership.
Yep.
So those should be able to find this listing out in the normal public websites.
You got CBS 19
Yeah.
and NBC 29
We could
watching
put a
the show
link
here.
in the comments directly to this if you want, very easily. If people want to look back, I can
These are going to go so quickly.
Well, the process takes a while, right?
Yeah.
You know, the process takes a while,
They've got to get
and
income
we have.
verified. They've got to get their loan paperwork done. They've got to decide that this is the right
Just-
house for them.
But the thing is these are generally people that have given up, right? So we have to help them through this process to get there. But it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy to help them get through to the point of actually be able to write a contract. This is not the normal process, right? And so we have to follow a very methodical, process to get folks through this sales process to get to the point to own one of them, own one of the units. But yeah, I wish we had a whole bunch more than what we do. That's for sure.
Oh, soon.
But
That's
we
for
got
sure.
3 coming, and
Yep.
then another 12 after that. So
Very cool. How about some closing remarks?
Yeah, so I'm going to let these two folks take the closing remarks because this was really about putting sunshine and putting the light on these folks. So, Susan, I'll let you wrap up a little closing remarks, and
I just
we'll
want to
give it.
say thank you all for giving us this chance to talk about this next step. This is really fantastic. Nassau Street was very, very exciting, as Keith and Greg have talked about. I came in after Nassau had closed and have had the privilege of getting to know some of the homeowners there. Wonderful folks who work in our community as teachers, restaurant chefs, folks connected to UVA, and I'm looking forward to meeting the next group of Land Trust homeowners.
Thank you.
Well said, Susan.
Yeah, of course, thank you. This is what I say to the folks listening. If this opportunity rings in your ears because you're interested in achieving a home ownership, just take the first step and come to the orientation in person or virtually and just learn a little more. You will learn something, you'll learn whether or not you think the CLT model is right for you, but I promise you'll learn something about home ownership in that will make you more prepared for that conversation in the future, because we're going to get into the economics of it for sure. But if you're listening to this as someone who's already a homeowner that is interested in this conversation, look around your sphere and think of who you deal with and are your friends or are in the workforce that might be in this income level that is not thinking about becoming a homeowner because they just didn't think it was possible, or they're just not thinking about it. And mention it to them. And because some of the best ways we find people for these opportunities is word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. But thank you guys.
Yeah, I mean, this was all about trying to offer solutions.
This was fun.
So thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Register, right? Get in the queue, as our British friends would say, and get into the class that you'll get to see the real Bert and Ernie show, because Craig.
Oh, you guys are the teachers of the class?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun.
People should register just for that.
I would just register to watch the Bert
I
and
saw
Ernie.
glimmers of Bert and Ernie this morning.
He just writes on the whiteboard. That's all he gets to do.
Does anyone understand what he writes on the whiteboard?
I do.
Yeah, I know you do. That's so funny.
You should see. Yeah. If you ever want to see what Keith's brain looks like, look at one of the whiteboards. Poor Susan's been through plenty of those whiteboards.
Plenty of whiteboards.
Whiteboards. She goes.
You used to send pictures of your whiteboard to me via text and say, "This is what I'm thinking," and I'd be like, "What are you thinking?"
Delete, trash.
How about a preview for Friday's show before we go?
Yeah, Friday is. I'm super excited about Friday. These are literally the two rock stars in the affordable housing space in Charlottesville. It's Sunshine Mathon with Piedmont Housing and Dan Rosenzweig with Habitat for Humanity here in Charlottesville.
Big time.
These guys are rock stars. I'm really looking forward to it. Want to talk about what solutions they're having, roadblocks they're having. How can we all work together to kind of get the magic to happen. So that's been an exciting. I've been kind of pumped about that show. So I'm looking. Not that I wasn't about you guys. This was great, but this is a big deal to have these guys.
This is
out.
a whole bunch of buckshot you're going to be talking
We're
about.
gonna-
We've got some
yeah, there you
big
go.
projects.
I mean, he had an architect roundtable about ADUs. Now Susan and Greg.
And then we had land planners.
We had land planners.
Yeah,
We're going to have Rosenzweig and Sunshine. I mean, you're really doing a hell of a job here.
Well, thank you. But that was my goal for this month, was to have to kind of focus on.
Impressed, dude.
Well, I don't know about that, but thank you for saying that. So we have an open slot on the 30th, though. We haven't quite.
You're recruiting now.
I'm recruiting.
Keith Smith, Greg Slater, Susan Stimart, guys. This is Real Talk on a Tuesday. Join us Friday at 10:15 for Dan Rosenzweig and Sunshine on Real Talk. It should be a very informative and entertaining hour here on Real Talk. Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday. Take care. Good work.
Thanks, guys.